sun. What we have here is a bomber day. Going around. And we just got saved by the micro start. This bike wouldn't start. Kyle popped it open, used the micro start. Boom, we're up and running. Let's ride! Hello and welcome to Season 5, Episode 11 of Vernon Snow MX.
In this episode, we're going to have a look at some beautiful sunny day riding that we just captured the other day.
We've been very lucky.
Been a great season for that. We're going to talk a little bit about how to get unstuck and show some pointers for those out there that might be interested. We're going to get back to our Timbersled versus Yeti head-to-head, doing what, Scott?
On the trail.
On the trail. And finally, we're going to wrap up today with a bit more from the boys in Pemberton. Mock Chicken and crew have got some footage to share.
All right, let's go.
Awesome when everything comes together like that. Beautiful weather, great snow, great friends to go riding with that you trust. Can't really ask for much more.
Smiles all day long.
Yeah, it sure is.
And then, of course, the other side of snowbiking is, and it doesn't have to be unpleasant, but getting stuck and getting unstuck. Here's just a short little clip that I filmed when all three of us were stuck within like 30 feet of each other. Hope you find it helpful. I'm stuck. You're stuck. You're stuck. Welcome to Riding with the Losers. We want to start filming some of our unstuck, so here's a classic. Came around the corner with the Yeti, tried to punch it up through there, just didn't have the traction, so I've stuffed it in here. Partially turned out. This will be a pretty easy unstuck. What I'm looking to do is grab that ski up there, pull it downhill. I'm gonna have to clear out all this stuff here or stomp it down, and then it should be pretty easy going. I'll just ride down. So I've done a little bit of cleanup here beside the bike. Just did the old dog paddle to get that out. Same with the front. I'm basically ready to flop the bike over. One of my goals when I'm getting unstuck is to expend as little energy as possible. So just kind of calm down, take off the backpack, and do things the smart way. Another really helpful thing to do is to stomp on the front ski. Get the whole bike to level out. Alright, now my track's going to be doing a lot better. Stomp this stuff down, and I should be able to ride out from here. That's it. I'm out. It's now time for our feature segment of this episode. It's Timbersled versus Yeti on the trail.
Cue the music.
Since the beginning of time, mankind has wanted to see a pure head-to-head competition between snowbike titans. This is Timbersled versus Yeti!
All right, let's talk about on the trail. This is a really important part of snowbiking, of course. Now, when you don't have the luxury of driving all the way up to your riding area, and you very rarely do, it's 15 to 20 kilometers of on the trail before you get up on top of the mountain. Then we do like 30, 35, 40 kilometers in the powder, and then it's another 15 to 20 kilometers back down to the truck. So on the trail is a really important part of the snowbiking experience. Let's take a look at the scorecard.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the criterion that we're looking at here. We've got acceleration. We're going to talk about ski response, overall trail bumps and whoops, high-speed handling, and the overall dirt bike feel of the kit.
Cool. Well, let's start talking about acceleration and how we tested that.
Sure. Well, we actually did, we don't have the footage, but we did some drag races with these two bikes on the hardpack on a trail. And same as we always do, one race, switch bikes, race again. And the finding was the same across the board. Yeah,
the Timbersled just walked away from the Yeti consistently for first gear, second gear, and the first part of third gear. Mm-hmm. And then it was full on Yeti. The Yeti just caught right up and went shooting past it. Now, We think that that's due to the traction, that the bigger footprint of the Timbersled Aero Long Track that it gets. It gets lots of traction, lots of hookup, but then the power savings of the Yeti belt drive, or whatever magic goes into a Yeti, allowed that bike to take over as speed was hit
in the long run.
And there was no doubt about it that the bike was going to win the long-term race. It was the Yeti.
It was charging hard for sure.
So what do we throw down for scores?
So for the Timbersled, we gave it a 9 out of 10, and for the Yeti, we gave it an 8.
Right. So now why did we go with a 9 instead of a 10 for the Timbersled?
Kind of comes back to what we were talking about in our last review, where we're hitting 9s with some of these kits, and to get that 10, we feel that the longer footprint, if you're running the belt drive, you may have that better acceleration.
Right. So if we had taken a long track Yeti and put it against this long track Timbersled, we think it would have done better because of the belt drive. It's more efficient, and the bike gets up and goes. We don't have that part of it as our competition, but we think it could be better.
That's right.
And then on the Yeti, we went with an 8 because, hey, it's almost as fast coming out of the gates, and then it takes off a little bit faster. But, first, second, third gear, that's where a lot of stuff is done when you come around a corner and you want to get going.
Yeah.
Really close
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're splitting hairs.
All right, let's talk about our next criterion. What do we have for coming up next?
How about a little ski response?
Oh, dear.
Oh, my.
So ski response, what we're talking about here is how good does that ski feel on the hard pack. This is not powder. It's sometimes groomed when you're really lucky, or it's slushy, or just packs snow.
Or ice.
So we tried to test in all those conditions, and we have some pretty interesting findings. So let's throw down the scores.
Sure. So for Timbersled this year, we gave it a 3 out of 10. And for the Yeti, we gave it an 8.
Wow, hey? Like, for those of you who haven't ridden the new Timbersled with the Aero ski, it's awful.
It's
on
scary.
The trail.
Absolutely. Now, it is important to note that we could probably do stuff with the forks on the Aero to make the ski better on the hardpack.
Maybe.
We don't know that. But we do know that ski in powder is awesome.
Yeah, we don't want to wreck that.
We don't want to wreck that.
So, for the Yeti, it's great. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
Riding on the trail is not super fun,
No.
in my opinion. And there's always room for improvement here. It's not dreamy, so the highest we could go was an 8.
Respectable score for sure.
Certainly.
Yeah.
What's next?
Trail bumps and whoops.
All right, so as the trail gets more used especially by snowmobilers, I think they make more of the whoops. It gets bumpy. Andrew, the scores?
Yeah, it's a 7 and a 7 across the board. Now we're talking about suspension, mainly on the kit, of course.
Yeah, they're the same. Could it be better? Absolutely. That's why we just couldn't go with a high score. 7-7, they're even.
They're both good.
They're both fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's up next?
Next, we get into high-speed handling, which is going to tie back to one of the criterion we just talked about.
If the ski feels terrible, there is no high speed.
We didn't do any high-speed handling on the
Oh, well, we
Timbersled.
tried, but you get so tense in your shoulders and your back. You're scared.
Hands hurt. My hands hurt.
Oh, just
at
from
the end.
hanging on. Yeah. It's not pleasant.
No.
In fact, this brings me back to a point that we heard before we even got to do any trail riding this year, and that some of the racers, or many of the racers, names that you guys would know if you follow the pros, they're not running the Aero ski.
That's right.
They're running last year's ski. So that's telling in itself. So do we go over the scores yet here?
No, we got a 3 for the Timbersled, and we've got an 8 for the Yeti.
All right. So basically, you're limited by your ski ability.
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes to speed handling. So huge difference there. If we were going to do a long-term race, like let's see who can start at the truck and who's going to end up at the riding area first, you're going to be able to have a little nap if you were riding the Yeti, because you would have been up there so much earlier. You could be in fifth gear most of the time, just pinned and not
railing
being
corners.
Terrified.
Yeah. And that brings us to the next criteria, which is dirt bike feel. And I think that all ties together with what we've been talking about here. It's got the same score on the sheet, a 3 for the Timbersled, an 8 for the Yeti. Remember, folks, we're talking about on the trail. This isn't overall. This is a specific style of riding, but you alluded it is really important too.
That's right. So, and we brought in that dirt bike feel because everyone's talking about dirt bike feel, and we actually took this checklist and flew it past Timbersled and Yeti, and they both encouraged us to put that on there. So that's why you're seeing it. Totals. How did things shake out?
We got a 27 for Timbersled, which gives them a 54%. And we have a 39 for Yeti, which gives them a 78%.
Right. So all these scores are out of 10. So all that was out of 50, and a sizable difference here. Yeah. And considering that based on the number of kilometers on the trail, for us at least, and the people around our area, that's more than half the day of kilometers. this is a super important part of it. Now, there are ways you can get out of riding the hard pack trail. You can go up and play on the edges and get into the powder a little bit. But the reality is sometimes you're just going to have to be on the trail, and it'd be a bit of a bummer to be stuck on that arrow all the time.
Yeah, it would be.
All right, so that wraps up our Timbersled versus Yeti. And the winner is...
Yeti. So we have one more segment for you today, folks, and it's some more footage from our new friends in Pemberton, Mock Chicken and Graham Haywood. Check it out.
Well, thanks for watching. That's it for this episode.
If you are having trouble finding our massive library of videos, please check us out online at vernonsnowmx.com.
All right, we'll be seeing you soon.
Thanks, folks.